Acha.
No, no, not just that. What happens outside when some noise comes, right? The back rows can't hear.
Okay.
With what name you say?
Open the old one. Just open the old one. It's from the desktop. No, the old one on the desktop here. With this picture.
Okay, you want me to scroll
Yeah,
down?
just show the.
I'll keep scrolling down.
So I just want to share one observation that I have, and something that I've learned over the last many years of both being active as a citizen volunteer in many initiatives, mostly in the back end, as well as somebody who started Citizen Matters and interacting with citizens across the city, all these active people who are really enthusiastic. So the key thing is, one, all of us are responsible for the mess that we are. Whether it is, we keep talking about the traffic, we keep cribbing like, the roads are not wide and there is no good public transportation, but those single occupancy cars are us. We are the jam. When you talk about ways that they don't clean up the waste, Malini already talked about, basically the whole system is broken. But who generates those mixed waste? Not the poor, not the, others. It's us. We are the ones who use those plastics and paper cups and styrofoams in our parties, in our corporates. I know of one corporate on Outer Ring Road which consumes 3 lakh cups per month for coffee and tea. 3 lakh, that's not a small number. If you were to just line it, I think from here to MG Road, you could line that line of paper cups. That's what 3 lakhs are all about. So, end of the day, and then we say, the system is corrupt, they don't listen to us, but finally, who votes? Not us, right? Last BBMP election, it is about 40% was in many middle class, upper middle class localities, it is 40%. Just find out how many people in our own apartments have registered. So, end of the day, yes, we are the problem, and apartments have aggravated the problem. The growth of Bangalore is led by apartments. The whole density of the population and the problems are acutely felt because of apartments. But at the same time, if you look at the last couple of years, it's been amazing to see the spirit, and that has also been led by people living in apartments. Whether it is waste management or lakes or even roads, like talked about the bus lanes or commuter rail, many people are from apartment dwellers. So finally, it's us. The solutions are coming from us, and it's not just about it's not a do-good activity, right? In fact, so it's not just a do-good activity. It's not charity. See, the old time, people, when you say social service, they're doing it. Oh, we are doing for upliftment of poor, or women's education, children's education, etc. But it's what I call self-defense. Because this is the air, the garbage that is burning is affecting our air. Our children are getting affected. The jam is affecting us. We are sitting in that, smog-filled air on the Outer Ring Road or wherever for hours together. So it is the water that is the leachate that is going into the ground is affecting our water. We are all dependent on tanker waters, right? We don't know where the water is coming from most often. So everything comes back to us. So it's a defense that we are trying to protect our own future, our own children's future. So that's one of the key things, and a lot of people, if you see the current trend of citizen activists, and you saw many of them here, I don't think they see it as a, doing good for the society. It is something that we need to do so that we fix our own problems, right? So a lot of times, when people start out, they don't know how to find the information. So that's one role that we at Citizen Matters have been playing. We provide the information, we provide stories of other such initiatives that you can learn from, contacts or resources or body of knowledge box sets. There's so many information and guide and FAQs and all that are there to get you started. But beyond that, you can still get stuck. You know, somebody doesn't respond, an official doesn't respond, or you know, you're not able to get the DPR of your road. They're saying they're doing road widening. You have no clue when it's going to happen and how it's going to happen. Is your apartment going to get affected? Are they going to knock down your wall? So we have a new pilot initiative, and we want to try out with a few groups which are very, very active. If you have a really major problem that you can identify and share it with us, we will work collaboratively with you to kind of, it's a collaborative journalism. We will work with you to get the information as you do your work on the ground. Right? What Citizen Matters does is actually what's technically called solutions journalism. So we talk about the issues and we talk about the solutions. So these are a few key initiatives we want to identify and work. We've done all this already many times, whether it is that, you know, Agara SEZ story that we did an investigative scoop for, and then we got some awards for that too. That is actually was based on the RTI documents obtained by citizens in the neighborhood. And so many other examples. We work closely with citizens, they provide information, they get leads, and then after we get some additional information, they go back and, you know, try doing something on the ground. So we've done this, but now we're trying to do it in a little more structured way. So this is like a pilot we want to do. So if what I would like you all to do, I'll give you my phone number. Just WhatsApp or email us, or even if you want to write it on a piece of paper and give it to me now, that'll be great. If you have a significant problem that you would like to work with us, and you need a team, you have to, whether it could be like crowdfunding to get information, if you need to raise money for that effort, you may want to, crowdfund it. Everybody puts in $100, $200 or something like that. Or beyond, suppose you want to figure out how they have done the road works, you want to understand the quality, you may have to do an audit. So we'll help with a survey, get in the right people, and then we do a audit form, and then you get a team of volunteers, and one Sunday morning you go and actually do an audit of your road. So that way we can do things together. And if you have something very, a key idea that you'd like to work with us on, so just write it down in a piece of paper, or you can email me or WhatsApp me later also. But we will select a few and start, over the next few months we want to start working on this. And next, on April 2nd, we have a citizen journalism workshop where it's at IMB on April 2nd, morning 9:30 to 4:30. So whole day of information on understanding journalism, understanding how the media works, and understanding a little bit of writing and filmmaking and data and analyzing data and tools, etc. And it also covers how to understand the city. How is a city run? Who's who does what? Who's responsible for what? Whose jurisdiction is a particular problem lie in, and so on. So it's an entire, the workshop is dedicated to understanding the problem and how you can write about it, so how you can contribute and work with us. So that's on April 2nd. It's there. If you go to the Citizen Matters website, I'll put it up tomorrow on the cover page that such a workshop is there. So that was the second announcement. So please reach out to me, or my editor Shri is also here. Post this session, you can just take our numbers. And I'm really looking forward to working with you, at least a few teams, and actually the entire life cycle of the problem and the solution. I think we'll come up with some great case studies and inspire other groups to do similar stuff. Okay, thanks. So I'll move on to the next topic, the last session, where we, just a second.
They are in the panel. In the panel? No, the other person is in the panel.
It's very late, so you can just give it 2 minutes.
Okay. So any of you are looking to form federation of the associations and all in your area? You are? Okay. Like individual associations forming federation, association of associations in your area. So what I would do, yeah. Okay, so I would invite Force GW, Mr. Venu, who's here, who have formed a Greater Whitefield Federation, which involves all the, associations. So, Mr. Venu. 3 3 minutes.
Yeah, sure. I'll not take much time. Just give a brief introduction. So, so basically, what we have is called FORCE GW, which is a federation of RWAs, communities, and establishments of Greater Whitefield. Okay. So this we created about 5 years ago. It was with a different name called Bruhat Whitefield Residential Communities Association. So we have about 22 associations who are along one stretch. We came together. So it was a very funny story why we came together. It was all because of somebody. I mean, we should say somebody called a chappal chor. So there are a lot of thefts happened in our communities, and it started like that. We started coming together, and then it went into a lot of directions. Okay, so we formally formed an apex body with all the representation from all the associations. We started working on the common problems. We started working on engaging with the government and all that. Okay. So in the process, we also get to meet R.K. Mishra, who is again another very vocal supporter of citizen-centric involvement. He asked us to make it more formal and take it forward. So we registered it. So we actually went to the extent of doing a voter registration drives and participating even in the elections. Okay. So we participated in the elections. We have some of our own community members, residents, have participated in the election. They won the elections. Okay. So we have one of our member got elected from the one of the panchayat called Kanamangala Panchayat. Another member, so his name is Lingaraj. Probably you would have seen some Citizen Matters articles. Another name was Sampath Ramanujam, who also contested elections. He was a BPAC member, BPAC trained member. It was very close. He lost by 4 votes. Okay. So these are all. So Lingaraj was actually MD of Genesis Software, and and he got elected for Panchayat. He's still a full-time employee of Genesis. He got elected. Sampath used to work for Fidelity, and he contested. So our idea was to basically RWA in itself is a small world, and if we can create a bigger world around it. I mean, like we were telling, right? So in the next 5-10 years, there will be 10 lakh voters in Whitefield. If you create these clusters and develop it in this fashion, there's a possibility that 5 years down the line, you can have your own 2-3 MLAs into the system. Then we don't need to be worrying about coming here and going behind BESCOM, all of these things, right? So we can define our own path, okay? And that's what is our intent is. And we have started this, and we are registering. We are actually, asking the Residential Welfare Association to subscribe to us. So right now we are dealing with in Greater Whitefield. So members from most of the Greater Whitefield area, big communities like Prashish Shantiniketan, Brigade Metropolis, and all these guys. We have management committees members from here. We have Arvind also who was here. Arvind also part of our management committee member. So. So this is a journey that we started, and we are actually working with a lot of villages, in Sigihalli, Kanamangala, and many villages, and we are actually concentrating on 4 pillars: education, infrastructure, environment, and health. Okay, so these are the 4 things that we are trying to get. Every initiative that we are starting will fall under these 4, and the primary agenda is also that our long term, we wanted to have a say in the system, okay, rather than going and begging behind people. Okay, so that's our primary objective, and we started the journey, and it's going well. And if any of you are interested, you come and join us. We are force-gw.org. Okay, it's there in a Facebook also. You can go to Facebook and search for force-gw. We have a page there, and most of our events we have pictures and all of them there. So you can contact us and how to do it and what we did, and we'll be ready to help you all. Okay, that I want to thank you. Thanks for giving me.
Yeah. Great. So anyone of you wanting to form a federation, wants to know how they got it going, you can contact him. We'll kick off the next panel. It is about builder handover best practices, registrations under various acts, and any other legal compliance related for apartment or villa complexes. So I invite Mr. Babu Balaji, who is from Novo Juris, which is one of the front leaders in property related legal consulting. Mr. Ankur, who is representing Paradigm Facility Management Companies. So Paradigm is one of the few companies which focuses only on residential maintenance. They don't do corporate. So please take your seat. And Meera, who will be doing this panel. And we have Mr. Rakesh, who has experience in registering under Apartment Owners Act. So there will be the challenges and learnings from him. Mr. Nagesh, of course. So we have Mr. Nagesh also, so who will be able to help us with the similar compliance-related queries. So Meera, over to you.
Thanks. Okay, let's keep it very interactive. We'll have more questions from the audience. I just want to open with 2-3 questions. The first is to Balaji, of course. So what happens when an apartment is registered on the Societies Act? And we know the issues that people are facing. Is everybody clear about it, or would you like a summary of the societies versus the KAOA Act? Okay. Okay. So I'll just give you a real life example of how in many cases actually this has happened. That apartments have been registered under the builder would just create a association under the Societies Act. And then after they hand over, and then the RWA will find there is some issue, the builder has planned to sell some part of the common property, and at that point if they want to file a case against the builder, they will not be able to, because they do not have that authority under that the KAOA grants them, because under societies they do not represent the entire apartment. So maybe I think Balaji is probably a better person to explain this.
See, apartments can be registered, societies can be registered in 2 varieties. One is under Societies Act 1960, which was the first one. In that Societies Act, it is a multi-purpose society. You can register a society for any purpose. So as Meera was telling, 99% builder cases, they'll take you a declaration that you will be forming a society, and they'll have the major stake and they'll control. And in small builders, where the builders construct 10, 20 buildings, 20 apartments kind of thing, they'll allow the buyers to form a society. The society can be formed, but the problem here is five apartments form a society, another 5 apartments can form another society. So we recommend that if any registration comes for 100% participation. This is the one thing you have to keep in mind. Otherwise, there will not be any unity among the apartments themselves. 5 buyers, 5 buildings, 5 flats. 5 flats. Under Apartments Act 1972, Karnataka Apartments Act, which has come in subsequent to the Societies Act, it has derived basically to protect the interests of the builders. This Apartment Act kind of thing, it is popular in Maharashtra, but the conditions are very strict. This registration fees is more, 100% participation from all the apartments is a must, and title deed should be Ekata. So many restrictions are there.
The key thing is that KAOA Act allows an undivided, the whole concept of undivided share in the property, right? Then owners also have a stake over the common areas. Under Societies Act, if they're registered and the builder can just sell part of the common area, you have no way to.
No, both are not related. One is related to the property, the other is related to the body incorporate of the members. So these are 2 distinct parallel streams. Nothing to do with each other.
So what do we suggest to the apartment complexes when you
If I
say the
can-
2 bodies?
I can,
Yes.
am I loud enough? See, to give you the idea, KOA is what actually? There is a single plot in the beginning, okay, when the story starts. At that point, the builder actually makes his plans for making, so many units. Units means apartments plus parking slot, plus in some cases there are some attached areas like backyards and terraces and things like that. So all of that he defines. And then he has to get the, acquire titles for those units. Sellable title. What is title? Title means I can transfer this particular unit to anybody else. That is called title. So to create the title, he has to submit the entire property, the whole property, to KAOA. And for that, there are specific processes, like how, what do you mean by submitting it to KOA? So KOA itself defines that these are the specific things you have to do. Namely, you have to make bylaws. Those bylaws have to follow specific requirements, like that. I mean, there are 4 different requirements, and all of them you have to do. Similarly, all the sale deeds of individual apartments also have to declare that each individual unit itself is being submitted to KOA. And so subsequent buyer cannot say that I do not agree, I do not submit to KOA. So these are the typical things which he needs to do. After that is done, he acquires those titles for himself. I am talking about the first time seller, okay, who happens to be the developer. Then what he does, he transfers those titles one by one to each individual customer. And according to KOA, that happens when you pay the first time booking, booking amount. When you typically, enter into a sale agreement come, construction agreement, that is the moment where you get the membership, in the sense that you are the new owner officially. And you go on paying in, as per slab or whatever, I mean, as the progress goes, you keep on paying. So you are actually paying full for whatever is the property at that particular point of time. Right? So you are de facto owner of each property. After that, what happens? Ultimately, it basically gets transferred, and that is where sale deed comes. And typically, the builder will say that after this you become the owner. That is not true. As per the KOA and KOFA, there are 2 different sister regulations. And according to that, actually, it is the booking where you become the owner, and he has to take your consent if he wants to change any plans. So from that moment onwards, there are a lot of advantages and protections are provided in KOA and KOFA, that is Karnataka Ownership Flats Act. So that is binding to the developer, and both put together give you a huge amount of protection
Yeah.
against
KOA
any
is
encroachment.
supposed to be pretty much a model act. Can we have a show of hands on how many people are registered under societies?
Now,
What
there
does-
is
that's a huge change.
one bad news actually. This society is to make your body a regularized entity. Otherwise, there is something known as Association of Persons, AOP. Okay, you are reduced to the status of a AOP if you do not actually register under any
So actually,
of
that
these.
was my question to Balaji, saying what happens after? So for all these dozen people who are under society, how can they?
Not even that. There is even further bad news. If the builder has not done DOD, for example, deed of declaration, you are not even AOP. You are individual owners, just a group. There are no AOP, no nothing.
No, no. In the case, Nagesh, let's assume, maybe he can answer that. Let's assume that there is no deed of declaration. So the KOA has a specific, order. You need to get the sale deed, then you need to get this, register with the registrar with the deed of declaration and so on. So quite a few steps are there, and because it is stringent, I guess most developers like to avoid that. So what happens for all these apartments which are under, where the residents are grouped under the Societies Act? I've seen there are villa communities which try to get register under KOA also. Like I think Chaitanya Samarpan was trying to do that. I don't know the current status if how they manage or not. Because it gives you a lot of safeguards from a resident's perspective.
In apartments where have been registered under Societies Act, they will be falling under the corporation rules and regulations. Suppose a builder is constructing a pent floor, that is pent house on the top floor, and common area is not utilizing properly, and all these things naturally which are happening. And once these are all completed, and as a society you cannot fight with him, and tomorrow akrama sakrama, they said this penthouse is additional roof, you have to pay, the buyer has to pay for it. These are all the risks.
So can an apartment complex which is now under Societies Act also register under a KOA?
You convert it or I mean,
Possible.
But then you need, I think, all residents,
100% participation is required.
required.
I think, sir, the problem is slightly different. As Madam was saying, the builders are not willing to form, the association under KAOA. So we are essentially, fighting with the builder that, why don't you form the association?
No, but has a builder handed over it already? If they handed over it, then you can go and form it on your
There's
own.
something called as a conveyance deed.
Yeah.
He may correct me if
Ah,
I'm wrong.
yes, yes.
There's something called a conveyance deed. If the builder is not handing over to you, you can always get in touch with your legal consultants and draft a conveyance deed. That's called a deemed conveyance deed. That has to be submitted to the builder. The builder has to hand over to you within 4 months of time. After that deed is submitted to the builder. Now what happens? There are two acts which all the gentlemen said very nicely here. Now the Apartment Owners Act, Ownership Act, is the main act under which you all should be registered basically. Now the lacuna in the system, though I'm a layman in these terms, I'm just trying to summarize all these things. What we try and do, we try and find an easy solution. Now the easy solution for us is the Karnataka Societies Act. That's the easy solution for us. But with that easy solution, we forget what are we really doing at the end of the day. We become an entity legal, as he said, but we do not have that much of powers where we would have as an AOA. So, as he said, though we have got ourselves as society registered, we should aim at ultimately registering ourselves under the AOA Act, which is very, very important for an association.
Yeah, but I think for some of the cases I have also seen that there'll be few flats owned by the builder or
Yes.
certain residents.
That
So
is
this
not a
100%
problem.
buy-in is
That
a.
is not a problem. See, first of
Yeah.
all, there is a misconception that, buyer can do the KOA registration. It can be done, but only under one condition, that 100% of the owners have to come together
Yes.
and do it. But at the time of registration, most of the protection which I have talked about under COFA and KOA, they are lost to you. So it is like shooting an arrow and drawing a bullseye around it. It's as simple as that. Afterwards, probably the benefits will come to the secondary buyers, the buyers who are going to buy the apartments from you. But till the time, whatever is the change, protection against change, protection against secondary selling of the parking slots, extra parking slot going, all those things basically, you are not protected. So there is no point in doing KO just for namesake. You should ask the board builder to provide that protection as given in KO. There are plenty of protections.
Sir, I think the question is slightly different. If the builder is not willing to do it,
Yeah.
what is the legal
Yeah,
recourse
what
we
are the
have?
options?
You not
That's-
do it
See, one legal recourse is all apartments get together, you have to form a society,
Yeah.
then collectively you have to move to KOA.
So even there,
Why the
the title, the main problem is that the title is not created for each individual unit until you submit it to KOA. So the Transfer of Property Act says that, the immovable property, you are going to transfer it to any of the buyers, right? If there is no title, what have you transferred? I I can make a document selling the Taj Mahal to you, it's a document, but I have taken money
So
for
my
that.
question is slightly
I'm not, I don't have the title.
No,
I cannot
one
transfer
second,
it.
Nagesh, his point is still that yes, if you don't have 100% of the buyers, of the owners who have agreed, then what happens? So the answer, as I understand, is nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing can be
That
done.
is what the RERA bill
Okay,
addresses.
Nagesh, wait, before I get into RERA. So
So
now,
before that, can I interrupt? So when we are asked by the builder to form an association and you take care of your proceedings by forming a committee and all, they asked us to form the committee. What we did is we collected the sale deed from most of the residents, and now when you say that 100% participation, that's what my question is actually relevant. Out of 190 or say 200 flats, we have taken the sale deed and the POA and all the signature from 107 residents, which is a majority. And at that time, the legal advice that we got is that since you have attained a majority, you can go with the KOA. And we, the residents ourselves, have initiated the KOA registration process, and we went with that. Even though there are like 7 or 8 building apartments or flats still with the builder, and they are not yet part of the KOA as per the sale deed, we are registered under the KOA. So I just want to
registration
ask,
done?
yes, our registration is done in Banaswadi SDO, sub-registrar office. I just wanted to know whether our KOA registration is valid in this terms, because we only have 107 out of 198.
This is a very critical question. If the other buyers, if they object, it will be a civil case.
The other objects or other buyers
So it
are
is not
part of
tenable at all. I mean, KOA says that all of the owners.
100% participation is
They
required.
have to come.
That's
why it is supposed to be done by the builder in the first place.
Correct. No, that's the point. So can you actually, is there a legal recourse? Can you as a resident say the builder is obliged to register under KOA, he has not, therefore can any buyer, just even individual, go and buy
Let
a
me
case?
put it bluntly, your sale deed says what? It says that you have, acquired a unit of, apartment number so and so. It's a breach of promise, straight up. That apartment is not yours anymore.
No, I think,
apartment is not yours.
the way this happens is you do two separate agreements. One is for purchase of the undivided share from the landowner, and then you have a construction
That is
agreement.
different. No. I'm not talking about the agreement of sale and agreement of construction.
Not-
That is different.
Not
By the way,
agreement of
by the
sale
way,
at all.
the
I'm talking about the
UDS
sale
word-
agreement, not
one
agreement of
minute.
sale.
I will explain that part. That's a nice point actually. UDS, the undivided share, is defined in two different ways. If you are under KOA, then it applies to only the common areas. The apartment is outrightly yours. It is sold to you. But the common area also has undivided share which belongs to you, and the total of UDS actually refers to the common area only, not to the apartments. Whereas if you are not in KOA, then the UDS applies to the whole property. It is like owning shares in Wipro, Infosys, etc. But there you cannot lay claims to a particular apartment. In general, the whole property belongs X% to you, that's all.
Let me get in Rakesh now, and I think if you want to talk about your experience, he's kind of, in fact, there is one Citizen Matters article that's how I learned about KOA, that Sanjay Vijayaraga had done, because he did it for his apartment and became pretty much an expert while doing it. I think as, MC members, we all get expertise in specific topics because of these problems.
Yeah.
It's on.
See, basically, in our apartment complex, we all also face the similar situation. But we did not face so many hurdles because our builder was very cooperative from the day one, and he himself actually came forward for forming this association under the KOA Act. So he came forward, he did all the documentation and all, and in fact, by the time whatever apartments were sold out, all of them were put into the agreement as a signatory. Of course, there were many apartments which were not sold out or which were not occupied by that time. They were left out with that, and we got our association registered in that, and handing over process started. So I don't have personally any experience of whereas we faced any difficulty in getting this apartment handover done or this thing. But as you people are telling, then there is a possibility that these kind of things, that builder will hand over to a association formed under KO Act. We could have put this clause under the sale agreement which we signed at the first day of the buying of the apartment. If that is done, probably we may be having legal recourse if they are not handing over to us at the time of handing over the property to the apartment association. So that could be one recourse we can take, and if we insist on that, and if that is legalized document, then probably we can ask them if they are taking a back step towards that.
So what happens in the deed of declaration, and maybe Balaji can correct me if I'm wrong, in the case of my apartment, for example, not all the properties, all the flats were sold. So even though only part of them were sold, and the remaining were represented by the builder's power of attorney.
Yes.
So that's what normally happens. So it doesn't matter that if the builder is doing the right thing, they can go and register as soon as they start selling the flats. They don't have to wait for everything to be sold, really.
No, to be very precise, the titles are acquired only when they submit the property to KOA. So that is that has to be the first step.
Yeah.
So all the four processes have to be registered under registration act.
Thanks. Meera asked how many of us are Karnataka Society. Can I just ask how many of us have got occupancy certificate? I don't have.
No, you're asking have or don't have?
Don't have. So now I am asking a question. In the situation where a builder has not even given occupancy certificate, You don't even have Karnataka apartment. You can't even talk Karnataka apartment. So in my specific case, for example, this builder started the first building in 99. Most recently, 2014, he handed over the recent building. Over these years, he decided on his own that he'll hand over building wise, not phase wise. Now, around 7-8 years back, a group of people, they thought that let's form an association, and they started with Society Act. They formed the association, and today we are at a situation where, as Ankur mentioned, he can guide us further, that today we are in a situation, we are registered with Society Act, builder has acknowledged that there is an association which is there. He has transferred that 2,000 rupees money which was collected from every flat for forming association. So that transfer has happened. He recognizes in all the communication that there is an association, but there is no legal sanctity at the moment, and we do not know what is the right way to move forward. So can somebody take it from here and explain in this situation where OC is not there, how to move forward?
OC is not there, you have to wait till Akrama Sakrama comes. I guess in his case he is telling that since all buildings are not completed, OC is not taken. Yes. Because as per the BBMP Act, until unless the entire apartment complex is ready, you cannot go for OC. And his OC is not ready, and he is taking longer than the expected time for completing all the buildings. So OC will not be taken, and even Akrama Sakrama would not be able to help because the building itself is not ready. So what?
Partial OC, BBMP does issue partial OC.
Tower wise.
Yeah, that is depending on the builder. Builder has to apply for partial OC, and that can be taken. And in his case, not sure why it has not been taken, because the society has to exert pressure on the builder to take the partial OC. Because in case of OC, if the documents are very clear, only because of the pressure of the society or the association, only builders will move forward, because it's most of the time it's a huge expense for him, and they don't take steps forward. In our case, we started from the day one we occupied the property, and within 6 months he got the OC done for us. So it's a very important point that you have to exert the pressure on that.
So just extension of what you said 6 months you got it done because builder was cooperating?
Yeah, but builder anyway was cooperating, but I mean to say he in fact got it earlier, but he wanted to play with us for certain things. Builder plays lot of games, they try to make things difficult for us. So you want to get OC, you take the position of the apartment, take the handover of the apartment. And they try to negotiate, you take this way, I will give this way. So likewise these things happen. And you have to, try to put on, things in a correct perspective so that you can take over the things. A lot of things happens, including the document handing over. Document handing over is another important process which many of the apartment associations do not take care.
Okay, I'll just come to that. Incidentally, one second. So incidentally, we had called somebody from Credai. Fortunately, they haven't made it, so you can see the empty chair. I would have actually liked to hear from the builders in terms of what their challenges are in handing over. Because dealing with the system, end of the day, they're also dealing with the system, and so many constraints are there, and it'd be good to understand that. But nevertheless, in fact, I came across a anecdote yesterday. This is a well-known builder, I think north of Bangalore, and where the builder was, and as you like many other builders, had promised water to the residents, saying whatever Kaveri water barta ide, or there will be borewell water, etc. And then he got the OC and the residents moved in. Now the residents realize they are completely dependent on tanker water. There is no other source because that whole thing is, I think it's an Anikal maybe. Whole thing built on some solid rock. There's no borewell works. So they are planning to, this may be a common occurrence in many of our apartments, but this particular community is planning to go and ask the BBMP or the whichever authority to cancel that OC. So, and they basically want to go the legal route because the builder has failed in their obligations. So that brings me to the
by cancelling the can a builder, is a builder actually, as the builder, do they have the right to actually accept their water? That is a groundwater. It's beyond the control of. This is actually right.
No, that
My
was,
question is, are we asking right questions as customers? It's also a problem, right? I mean, if we ask questions like whether water will come for next 30 years, can a builder guarantee that in the first place? Even if he guarantees, can we take that in the face value and go and give him the check?
no, I don't know the real finer details of this.
No, no,
It is an example to
it's the other way
say,
around.
if the obligations, whatever, whether it is water, maybe it is something else. If obligations have not been met, if the promises have been failed, what are the legal options that residents have after they move in? So normally, if you go to the consumer court, you will find like, thousands of cases against like every single builder, right? So that is the most common, and filing a consumer complaint is not really difficult. But at the same time, many associations don't want to get into that, fight with the builder, because you still want the, good relations, because you want to get some stuff done. It may not have been work, may not have been complete. You don't want them to pull it out completely. So what options do you think residents have in that kind of case? What are the legal options? Soft legal, hard legal, civil suit, whatever.
There is a problem. There is a
Additional
PDO.
question.
Maybe Balaji can.
One additional question is, can we actually go to a legal way or consumer code even if you don't have an OC? Because as an OC, what it means is occupancy certificate. The government is giving permission for you to live there, and you are going and living there, whether it be your compulsion or whether the builder is asking you to go and live there by their letterhead, but you are not supposed to live there. Now, if something happens and if you have to approach a court, the first thing they will ask is, where is your occupancy certificate that government has to give you?
I'm not even getting into that. I'm just saying.
No,
whatever
you have to get into that because he is right. In 2009, the Karnataka High Court passed an order which asked BBMP that why are you giving, allowing people to, go ahead with the OC? Without OC, why are you getting into this? So there is a BBMP commissioner order, I have a copy, which says that it is addressed to BESCOM and BWSSP. It says that, no, please do not give connection and cut the connection. If they do not have OC,
don't
please
have
go
OC,
ahead and
cut
cut
the
the
BESCOM
connection
connection.
after my officers issue a notice.
Yeah,
This is what it
Nagesh,
says.
that wasn't my question. If you can give it, in terms of what are the other legal options, recourses that residents can have?
No, it's a breach of promise.
In general, like what
Indian
maybe-
Contracts Act.
general, the best way is to fight collectively against the builder. Number one. Number two, if you are denied OC, you have to check with the concerned department why OC is denied. What is the deviation? See, normally what the builders will do, because Bangalore is booming like anything for the last 7, 8 years, for the last 15 years, there was a little bit low in the middle. The builders, what they do is normally they buy land and they'll publish the attractive pamphlets and say we are giving so many facilities and area, this, that, they'll show, and they'll, while construction, while finishing, what they'll do is they'll just slowly construct 2 floors, additional floors, which they hold for themselves, and they show whatever the swimming pool area, common area, parking area, slowly they cut down and they'll construct commercial complexes, because of which these are all the reasons where OC is denied. We have to exactly elicit from the department why OC is denied. Whether construction is not done, whether tax payment is due, or any other deviation in constructions, then only we can, case to case, we have to, it is not a general question that to answer in the forum. You have to check the documents, you have to consult the department, then only we can go for a recourse.
So sir, assuming all these problems are there, suppose builder has done that, what we can do then? I think the question is, suppose all these problems exist, what we should do then? I mean, we are still fighting as a community, that's why, we have formed an association under the Societies Act. We are still, seeking legal help, to address all these concerns. But it's been 5-6 years and it's not helping us.
As a group, we are going to take up with, as part of the RERA, which gives
I can come to that.
but that is going to come up.
I have one question here, again a qualification question. Because when we check with our builder whether why we are not being given the OC, he said for villas there is no OC, only for apartment OC is given. Is there a fact or is there a myth?
You have to get
OC has to be there.
Just to give a relative picture, Bangalore has 198 wards. In last 5 years, 2010 to 2015, 97 OCs were issued in 198 wards. That means 101 wards have never seen an OC in 5 years.
Because they don't.
Okay, if I can just,
Another fact, according to CREDAI, 2,06,753 units were sold in the same period.
okay, we running out of time. So I'll keep the RERA question to the last because I know you will probably want to continue the conversation with Nagesh outside. But incidentally, Nagesh was part of the team that lobbied for this new real estate bill that got passed day before yesterday in Lok Sabha. Rajya Sabha had passed it earlier. He and his team deserve a big round of applause, please. So it gives you a lot of safeguards against, for residents, against builders, because they can't just take the money and sit on it, and they can't like take 15 years to build it and so on. So I will end the session because we have to vacate the hall. But I have one last question for Ankur, and then finally we'll end with the RERA question. Then it's like we'll keep it informal till we are kicked out. So the question for Ankur is, in general, when you take over the facilities, understanding what this apartment is all about is very, very hard. Like in my case, for example, there was no like drawing, electrical drawings, there were no plumbing drawings. Just taking over this complex, facility, how do you guys manage that? Because the builder documentation in general is so poor, right?
Though we mention takeovering, handover is one term, though I try to call it as a M&A, which is called a merger and acquisition. The only difference here is we've already paid the money to form a company. We're just trying to take over that right now. It's not as simple as what we think, that we form an association and we take over. We're talking about 50 apartments to 1,200 apartments to 5,000 apartments. The drawings. Now, we're only talking about legal today, but we did not really understand that what we can do before we go legal today. What steps can we take proactively to make sure that before we go legal, at least builder supports it to a certain level. Now, what I understand from being in the industry for the last 10 years and worked with so many builders and associations is, builders are not really keen to hand over for a couple of reasons. So I will answer to her question just to brief on what we were discussing before. It's mainly because, let's understand, builder main job is not maintaining societies. Builder make a lot of changes while they're doing construction for either their own benefits or for practical reasons or for business purposes. Second is they get a lot of money out of the maintenance charges which we give them, saying that 1 year, 3 years maintenance. They park it nicely somewhere in their account, or they normally what they do is they put that money in their next project. The money is gone. Now, obviously at the end of the day, builder is not interested to hand over the premises to us for given these two reasons simply, that one is build drawings, the approved drawings and as-built drawings. Now, most of the scenarios, both the drawings will never match. How do a builder face you? The builder cannot face you. Everyone is smart these days where you can see the difference. But the plan does not match. The second is the most important thing is the fund. The sinking fund or the fund which they collect. They saying we're going to maintain the premises, runs in 50 lakhs to, I've seen, to 3 crores to 4 crores in some complexes. The money is nowhere there. So the only two ways I normally say before going legal is, two words I would rather use is patience and going professional before going legal. Now, legal is obviously the thing for any individual or any citizen to go, but before that, the two things. Patience is one key. As he said, giving something, taking one thing. We need to make sure that how best we can achieve that by giving in something. For example, he says, okay, I will not do the seepage work, let's say. I will not do a certain seepage work for you. Okay, why don't you give me a treadmill? Don't do the seepage work, we'll have it done. Give me another extra treadmill. The point is how you can give in, how you can take it from the builder. The point is going professional at that time. When I say professional, are we not outsourcing everything what we're doing these days? So I will also talk on my company's behalf that yes, we are professional in helping associations in how to take over from the builder. We give that professional help to you. We're also launching a service called BAT, B-A-T. A simple service, it means Builder Association Takeover. As simple as that. It's a 45-day service which we provide to you, which will basically cover 3 aspects. One is the legal, which is the most important thing, which talks about all the certificates, the build drawings, the completion certificate, the occupation certificates, the car parking plans. The second in terms of that is technical. Now technical is something where builder has shown on the plans that we're going to give you a certain fancy STP, this kind of a swimming pool, that kind of a DG, this kind of a wiring, but at the end of the day it actually boils down to something else. And that is where you get a technical help and as to what you were promised and what you get. And now if you've got this, not good, how do we make it good? That is where you can go professional on that. The third thing is the finance, the audit part. Yes, there are a lot of there are auditors in the market.
I suggest because now this new regulatory bill is coming and most of the builders will start falling in line because I'm just telling one thing. See, these are the problems many builders are creating. Everywhere inside Bangalore you will find such kind of problems. The only way to pressurize a builder is to make them getting noticed in the market. That is the only recourse we have. All legal recourse are a failure. I would say even if you go to court 100 times, you don't have the time to go for that. Exactly. Only way the builders get threatened is you tell them that I will make sure that you don't get a good name in the market. That is the only way out. I feel that builders feel little bit threatened. Or you can ask them that if you are not doing this thing, I have social media network, I have so many other recourses through which I will make sure that your further flats which are still not sold out will not get sell anywhere.
I just want to add one thing. Our builder, he made an extension. To that extension part of it, he didn't even give any STP facilities. And he was leaving the entire sewage, sillage, everything into the public area, into the vacant lands. And he is, right as we are speaking, he is giving a talk in New Delhi at 15,000 rupees registration fee, and he's honored. So what do you do?
No,
Dr. Hariharan.
Okay, so I wanted to add 2 points. One is I have seen the consumer court cases. The smaller builders do have an issue when it comes to, I mean, you can find solutions using the consumer court or any other case for smaller builders. But the other thing, like he said, big builders, the reputation is probably bigger, more important. That's a better way to tackle
our
that.
builders in one of the meetings in their head office with the, that time we were a volunteers group, he said, you want to go to court? Go. Supreme Court jaogi, jao. To one of our
Is this a big builder or a small one?
Prestige.
Prestige, okay. So that's what. So bigger builders, I think it's difficult to handle with just a threat.
To one of our committee members, to Supreme Court jayegi, ja. क्या करेगी कर ले
Okay, once again,
frightened about going against the builders because just like our community also filed a case against the builders thanks to Nagesh and his guidance. When there is a real issue, let's not be afraid of going legal against. Maybe minor issues when there is a take and give possibility, it's well and fine. But we have an issue where a lot of parking space. In our case, our residential area.
There are 2 clauses which you may apply.
Because in our case, the residential area was given to council.
No, like that there are many instances. Just a second. So we are really running out of time. So let me suggest one thing. I think this is a pretty complex topic. We need to take this forward. So with your permission, Sangeeta and I, we will mail you, because last time, for example, the water workshop, we had this amazing interaction. We talked about this water tanker rates. Nowhere in the city is it documented. We found so many issues with it. We actually, collected, we did a mini survey and found some rates, and then afterwards on Citizen Matters, we did a larger survey of around the city. We got so much data that benefited hundreds of other apartments. Similarly, can we do an exercise post this, document each of those issues, and we will do this. For example, this article, I don't know if you can read it, this checklist has been used by, I know a few dozen apartments which use this checklist to take over from the builder, because it really, first time associations have no clue. You have no clue what are the documents which are supposed to be checked for, or what are the, what the plumber is supposed, the scope of work of each department, etc. So like this, I'll be happy to work on more documentation similar to this. This needs to be updated anyway. So can we continue the conversation? We will mail you, and if you could share each of your specific stories, then we will also get legal advice on that, and then let's make case studies so that one, we also learn, and other people in similar situations also benefit. I think that's the best use of a body of knowledge that we can create based on this.
One more question. Coming back to the KSR and KOA, we know that KSR administrative registrar, and any arbitration will be dealt with them. But KAOA doesn't have anybody as long as I know.
That's the problem actually.
Yeah.
Clause 4 of COFA actually says that competent authority is the registrar of societies. Okay, that's it. Beyond that, it doesn't say anything. I actually met the registrar in question. Okay, and I asked him, what do you do with this document? Sir, कोई रख के जाता है मैं फाइल कर देता हूँ. That is the answer. So he doesn't have any idea about what to do after a society is formed. I said, do you treat this KOA body as a society? He said no. Because where is it written that I have to treat it as a society?
Yeah, that is why we got our this thing after KO registration. We got ourselves registered under Societies Act.
You have both.
Both we have done.
So how do you do your auditing? I mean, when the financial auditing is to be happen, you submit your report to society.
Yes, you have to submit.
But when a society is only formed in KOA, we don't have an obligation to do that, right?
Yeah, that is why we have to do it.
You don't form a society. That is where things are going on. There is no concept of forming a society. The word association is used in KOA to denote the body of all owners put together. That's all. There is no legal.
Yeah,
meaning.
there's no.
Okay,
Okay,
one final question
yeah.
on the taxation part, on the, especially at the time of handover, there are two aspects. One is the TDS, 1% TDS that has to be deducted, where the builder says, don't worry, I will take care of it. That is one. The other is, a lot of builders are asking for service tax on sinking fund. It's a capital receipt. How can they levy service tax on sinking fund? How do we tackle these two issues?
Yeah, there is.
Corpus fund you are talking,
Yes.
right? Corpus fund, there is no service tax. Maintenance charge, yes. Maintenance charge, yes. Clubhouse fees, it is yes. Building costs, parking fees, rest everything, legal charges, everything it is there.
So maintenance fund only if it crosses 5,000.
Yeah.
No, the builder when it collects. Builder collects because builder is a third party in that case, they will collect service tax.
But the service tax is on the maintenance fee or for the entire thing? I mean, electricity, it's common, right? You are paying to best.
Electricity and water charges also they are collecting service tax nowadays.
So is that
Because they are telling we are taking service from a lot of vendors as well as from the
But that is dual taxation because in any case they are paying service tax to them. They are not giving us any credit back.
No, we had the same situation and then we argued and got that reversed and all. So yes, there will be fights. Okay, we're really running out of time. So whatever additional questions you may have, you please send it to us. I will get some, additional clarification or notes or whatever written about it and we'll circulate it
Where
back.
do we
Okay?
send the questions?
You can send it to.
We have your emails. We will
We'll
be
send
sending
you
a
one
report
link.
on
Yeah.
the workshop learnings, and
So
then we can.
you
take
can
it
reply
forward.
to us. Okay. So I'll just end with Nagesh. He'll get like 2 minutes exactly. Then after
Before
we'll
that,
switch
I
out the
want to
mic.
give him some.
No, you can talk
Ask
about
for
the.
Senvat. Yeah, ask for Senvat. If he is using Senvat, then he is supposed to pass on the benefit to.
Exactly. So
Okay.
they are registered because they are collecting
They are
service tax
supposed
from
to.
us.
They are supposed to
But
account
they
for
don't
Senvat.
pass on the benefit back to us.
You ask for the Senvat, no? Have we suggested you ask for the Senvat?
So,
If he is not giving means he doesn't have registration, just like that he
He
is
is
collecting
pocketing
the
the
money.
money.
That's it, that's it.
So let's.
Then you can file a case against
Reputed builder.
Yeah, it's that is cheap.
No, you can file a complaint against them and
That is
service tax
cheating
people
is-
will.
Yeah.
Then you can fly away like Kingfisher.
So we finally will end with understanding the new Real Estate Act because it has many points that will safeguard against these kind of issues. And currently it was a law thanks to all these people lobbying, it's become a law, but the state still has to pass the rules. Therefore, again, unless all of us lobby for it, it may not happen. So please be ready to get and support this thing happening. So over to Nagesh.
Yeah, actually this has taken a few years of struggle in the backyard. I mean, we were not publicly facing the our other groups actually, but this has been going on since 2011. The drafts were circulated. We have given comments and things like that were happening. This year we actually changed the tactic. So what we did was, our people actually went to Delhi, stationed themselves there. They met the various political party and their leaders who actually gave them personal assurance, including Rahul Gandhi, that they will not block the bill in the Rajya Sabha, where the government is in minority. Based on that, the government got the confidence to table the bill. So that was put. And if you have seen the proceedings in the Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, it was like very smooth.
No partisan stand, no awkward questions, nothing. Everybody was praising it, and it got passed without any amendment. Otherwise, the best way to kill a bill is to put some amendments. So this is what we also strategically we thought that whatever has gone, let it be passed. Afterwards, there are many what's which we will sort out in the coming years. So that is the strategy. Right now, the next step is the state level implementation. See, RERA is actually to regulate the real estate. All the problems, whatever we have discussed, there is a magical answer. You won't believe it, but there is an answer in RERA. It tries to resolve that. Everything is resolved. And what it does is the number one, every builder and his agent, both are supposed to be registered with a registration authority. And the registration authority is supposed to float a website in each state, and they will issue the registration number to each builder and his agent. So they are supposed to upload all the documents related to each project onto that website. So whatever we are saying that we were promised something, the brochure said something, and it is not like that. All that will be sorted out. There will be a full-time office, a big office in Bangalore, Bangalore being the state capital, which will be looking exclusively after the gap areas. You can go and complain there, and in the worst case, builder can be jailed also for 3 years. So there are provisions to blacklist him, there are provisions to imprison him for 3 years for these gaps. So there is putting God, fear of God is going to happen. And the best news is it will apply to many of the open projects which have not got completed. So you should not feel that now my project is over, now I am fighting over the it is not registered, it is not completed. No occupancy certificate, all that.
Pending
So
projects will be
included in that. So you can actually ask for remedy under that. Secondly, we as a group are trying to form a FAQ. We have asked whoever has become member so far, we collected FAQ from them. What are their pain points? Like for example, khata not provided, or starting from there to community living issues and so on. So we have collected about 170 distinct problems, and all the problems whatever we discussed, they are already captured there. So what I actually was proposing with Sangeeta was that we should actually have something collaboration with these portals. There are 3 major portals in Bangalore. If we can collaborate with them all, then most of the apartments will get covered. See, idea is not to lock in with the apartment adda or common floor or apna complex. Okay, the idea is to reach out to everyone, build the strength, and then again collaboratively work with government, just like what we did at Delhi. In Delhi, all parties are happy. Nobody is actually beating his chest saying that I did RERA. They did it together, and they do deserve a applause for that. Otherwise, all the other like women's reservation bill, they are there for years and nothing is coming out. So finally, RERA was passed. Let us make the best use of it, and we are putting out distinct steps like compiling all the questions, contacting all the same MPs. Luckily, Karnataka had 3 active MPs who were associated with RERA bill. Venkaiah Naidu, okay, he himself tabled the bill. Then Rajiv Chandrasekhar and Rajiv Gowda. They all, if put together, they represent BJP, Congress, and Independent. I mean, everything is covered, spectrum. So we can actually expect a lot of this one. Mr. PC Mohan, who had come today, he also gave assurance. So we want to meet him also. Other leaders, local leaders of all political parties will be covered, so that everybody is taken into confidence.
So the central bill that has been passed.
Bill is yet to be signed by the president, but after that, there is a complex situation where there are KO and KOFA, both are still there in Karnataka. They will have to be unfrozen, modified, and frozen again to be to align with RERA. So new elements will have to be introduced in these acts.
Okay, I think we need to move on to the hall. So if you can wind up, but what we'll do is we'll send you, along with the mail, we'll send you links to, maybe we'll make some FAQs on the new Act, RERA Act, as well as the KOA Act. So we'll send you all the resources, and then on the hopeful note that RERA will solve all our problems.
So to begin with, we have a group, I mean Google group, if you can note down, I will just share the name. It's called RERA for Karnataka. RERA for Karnataka, RERA for Karnataka.
Four is number or FOR?
FOR, and in between there is hyphen, dash.
RERA for Karnataka.
Karnataka. That's a Google answer. You will have to subscribe. I have suggested that to be made open actually. Anybody should be able to see. And at present we have shared all the important resources there. Namely, this is KOA is shared there, COFA is shared there. Then there is one more registration at 1908. You people should look into that. All the people who have some problem or the other, these 3 acts are basically required. Then there are 2 rules. Not required. They are all posted there in that Google group. So there are rules associated with these 2. KOA and COFA come with their respective rules, which define more details how to implement that. That is also posted. Then there is one more act which says Acceptance of Deposits Act, which basically protects whatever deposit you give to the builder actually, that how it protects that analysis is given. And they're followed by multiple analysis, different documents on how each of these acts, what I mentioned, protects you as a buyer. There is one more specific document which I have created which says that how your rights are affected if there is no deed of declaration. For example, I mentioned that you don't get any title to your apartment. You only get a UDS, which is defined for the entire property, not for the common areas. So all that is mentioned, and how to come out of that also we have fair idea. Now to implement that, we need to go as a group and approach the concerned authority. Okay, so we will be declaring in the coming weeks specific programs for individual problems. We will take one problem at a time, meet the concerned authority, sort it out, declare a camp sort of thing where the problem with RWS with similar problem will get processed at one time.
I think it's really got to thanks.
Sure.
Thanks. Thank you. Thanks,
Thank you for RERA getting done, and thanks to all of you for the inputs you've provided. Before you leave out, I will request our team that has brought this together. I hope this was useful for everyone who was present. So I would request our team to please come to the stage. There's been a lot of background running going on.
So all the forms that were given to you, if you can just submit it here. Thank you.